as leaders, we must understand who we are. At the chapter level, your chapters, sometimes we have chapters that get so caught up in some particular thing, let's say evangelism, that nobody else is welcome there. I have heard it. I've even been guilty of doing it. We have chapters who tell people coming in, if you're not interested in going out to the world and telling them about Jesus, if you don't want to go to the rallies, if you don't want to work the booths, this is not the place for you. That is a lie. That is a lie, and if you've ever said it like I have, we have lied to them and run some good people off that God had a plan for. We tell you, and you need to understand this and drive this home to your chapters. We tell you that in order for a chapter to be successful, heck, in order for the ministry to be successful, we must have 4 key elements functioning within this ministry and within your chapters. And we'll talk about this more tomorrow. But those 4 elements are prayer, fellowship, evangelism, and discipleship. We must be a ministry made up of people who pray. Let's face it, if we don't pray, let's go home. We must be a ministry that makes people feel welcome when they come into our chapters. Maybe their only interest at that point is to ride a motorcycle and hang out with good Christian people. What's wrong with that? Absolutely nothing. We should be those people. We should be that place where they can come and hang out and feel good about themselves and hang out with Christian people. That's what I did, and buddy, I came to to the other place, and one day God grabbed a hold of me. So the people that come in for fellowship, God will grab a hold of them. We must be an evangelistic association. We must be a ministry. And everything we do ultimately leads to ministry. And if we're going to tell people, I respect John for a lot of reasons. But early on, he earned respect from me that he doesn't even know he has. Because when we started talking about designing some things and including a discipleship program, he called me in the office one day, and I was working special projects, and he said, I want you to do this. And he said to me, if we're going to go tell people who Jesus is, we have an obligation to help them become who he wants them to become. That's who we are. That's who we are. And I could give you examples of that in action, but I don't have time for that. So CMA is an evangelistic organization. We exist to promote the good news of salvation through Jesus Christ. But we must have these other elements working within our chapters. In order to survive, we must have those. We have members and leaders who lose sight of that, and some attempt to steer the ministry in their own direction. What's significant to them? Some attempt to get the ministry and the membership and the resources of CMA behind their favorite other ministry or their cause. Recently, 8 months ago, I got a phone call from a lady who was with a very large national children's organization. It's a wonderful organization. And she wanted us to nationwide get our chapters and you to start promoting, get involved in some national fundraising campaign they wanted to have. And she said to me, can you imagine the good that can be done if the ministry of CMA gets behind this cause? And I said, yes, ma'am, I can imagine that. I said, but that's not who we are. I said, we can't do that. Because if we do that, then how do I say no, or how do we say no to the next organization that we can have that same impact on? And before long, we become something we're not. We become a fundraising organization. What I told her is the same thing that I would tell anybody else, and this is what I encourage you to tell somebody. You do it, we'll do our best to help you. But we're not going to do it for you. There's always somebody trying to use CMA for their own cause and their own agenda. You can't blame them, but you have to remember who we are. We are a servant ministry. CMA is a servant ministry. We seek to serve, not to be served. That sounds a little like Christ to me. That may sound a little simple, but it's really not. Our goal is to be like Christ. Our goal is to go, to serve, and to earn the right to tell them who Jesus is. CMA is a giving organization. We're givers, not takers. with the exception of our own Run for the Sun, we don't do fundraisers. Now, I know occasionally we have to do something for a chapter, something like that, but I'm telling you as state leaders that you should be telling your chapters that if they want to do any kind of a fundraiser, they need your approval first. They need to coordinate it through you. It's a whole lot easier than allowing them to start doing something and then you find out about it and you've got to correct it. You've got a lot of mad members when that happens. But if you talk these things to them in your state leadership meetings and in your chapter visits, and tomorrow, area reps, we'll talk about some things that you should always talk about in chapter meetings. But if you talk about these things, eventually the membership and the chapters will get it. We're a giving organization. We're givers, not takers. We are not a fundraising organization. CMA is a ministry aimed at motorcyclists. Our main focus must remain on the motorcycling community. We do other things, nothing wrong with that, but in order to stay in balance as to who we are, we must remember that we reach out primarily to the motorcycling community. That's our focus. CMA is primarily a motorcycle ministry. We're an all-exclusive ministry made up of all sorts of people. We have people who ride Gold Wings and Hondas and BMWs, but we have to understand that we're made up of all kinds of people. Now, I'm going to pick on John because I can't really see him in this light, so I can't see whether he's frowning at me or not. But John and I spent a lot of time when I was on staff and didn't have a region. We traveled together a lot. And I rode a Harley. I love Harley Davidsons. I love them. They're great fun to ride. It's just not suitable for what I'm doing right now. But he was riding something else, a Gold Wing, I think, at the time. And we spent a lot of time badgering each other in good fun about Hondas and Gold Wings and all those kinds of things. But you know, we found out that if people heard us, we could offend some. There are some people out there who almost worship that Harley Davidson logo. So you have to be careful, but understand we welcome everybody. Well, let me give you a more down-to-earth example that's actually relevant to what I'm talking about here. In a chapter, if the chapter is made up primarily of people who ride Gold Wings, let me say, and they make a routine habit of picking on the one or two guys that ride Harleys. And every chapter meeting, they're cutting jokes about the Harley, and the Harley breaks down, and well, we'll go for the ride. We need a chase vehicle, or carry rags to pick up the oil and all. You've heard it all. But let's say John Q. New Christian, or the guy that just wants to come hang out with us, rides a Harley. Are we making him feel welcome? No, we're not, because he didn't come to be the butt of a joke. So let's understand that we are not a brand-specific ministry. We reach out to all bikers, including the hardcore bikers. You and I know that there are some groups out there who target the three-piece patch bike clubs, who target the hardcore bikers. And we have people in the ministry of CMA who have relationships and who that's their calling to minister to those people. And I have a past myself of being involved with the clubs, and I enjoy it. I like it. Actually, I'm very comfortable there. But we're not a hardcore biker ministry. That's not all we are. So if in your chapters, in your states, you have people who are focused on that, well, help them do that, but don't let them divert other people. Don't let them portray that that's all we do. If you don't reach out to the hardcore guys, you don't deserve to be here, because that's not true. We reach out to all bikers. And I will tell you this, there are groups out there, I know this firsthand, there are groups out there who will compromise their standards in an effort to fit in with those groups that they say they're trying to minister to. Let me tell you, we will not compromise our standards. If you think you have to drink a beer, if you think you have to drink a beer, or if you think you have to dress a certain way to be used by God, you need to get on your knees and let Him reveal the truth to you. Because if those guys, our message is, we're here if you need us. When the day comes that they need one of our members, they're not going to be looking for somebody that lives like and looks like and acts like them. They're going to be looking for somebody that's offering them something different. They're going to be looking for us.